What is up, my Shadowverse soldiers, and welcome back to another Shadowverse Evolved video. So we are finally on the last craft, that being Swordcraft, because, we were just doing it in alphabetical order. And I've been hearing many things that Swordcraft is getting another deck, that being the Heroes. I don't know how exactly it's built or what it does, but when I do figure it out, for anyone who doesn't know, I will be making an Inverse Academy episode about it. I'm probably going to be doing it probably next week, sometime in the middle of the week. I'm getting my runecraft stuff in. I want to do some beta testing this weekend for what I can do for runecraft. Hopefully it can get even stronger, but with, Beauty and the Beast coming out, that's just like a whole nother thing for runecraft to look out for. So let's figure out what comes out in Swordcraft. Alright, so the first card we have is Aiming to be a Lady Salmon, and for 7, this card is treated as a Cinderella. She has Storm, and then when she strikes, so when she swings, you remove a Fairy Tale counter from this card, and you look at the top 4 cards of your deck. You may put a follower that costs 5 or less play points from among them onto your field, and put the rest into your cemetery. And then when it comes into play, if there's another Fairy Tale follower on the field, put a Fairy Tale counter on this card. I feel like this is a big boss monster. It does a lot. Now, all the 5 drops that you're able to play in Swordcraft, I'm pretty sure there aren't too many of them, but I know the 5 or less is probably what you're looking for in terms of that. And the fact that this has Storm is still nice too. But on the fact that you could just swing and just look at the top 4 cards of your deck and then not have to, give any value out of your hand is absolutely amazing. Next up, we have Amaro Spear Knight. For 2, you can evolve them for 3, pretty expensive. But on strike, when it swings, if there's another heroic follower on your field, give this follower +1/+1. So let's figure out what this Evo does, because it's super expensive. We have the Amaro Spear Knight Evo. So on strike, so when it swings, if there's another heroic follower on your field, give this follower +1/+1. And then on evolve, you select a heroic card in your cemetery and play it for 0 play points. So any heroic card that's in your cemetery is getting played. So that's pretty nice because, you had to spend 3 to evolve them and just play them. Next up, we have Bladed Hedgehog, and for 2, you can evolve them for 2, and then whenever an enemy follower is destroyed during your turn, give this follower +1 attack. That's pretty interesting. At any point in time, if this card just sticks, it's probably not since it casts 3 defense, but anytime a follower is destroyed, and whenever you're setting up to get rid of followers on your enemy side, then you can probably play this card and it can generate some value. Let's figure out what this Evo does though. Looking at the Bladed Hedgehog Evo, whenever an enemy follower is destroyed, it still gets a +1 attack. But on evolve, you select the enemy follower on the field and deal it 2 damage. Like I said, so far it looks like the set you're spending 2 to do like an Angelic Snipe most of the time. The other cards haven't been that most of the time, but usually it's whenever you spend 2 for something and it's going to do damage. Hopefully, if you spend 2, it's like Dragon Warrior, but with the 2 drop being as it is, and then you evolve it for 2, it's just an Angelic Snipe. Moving forward, we have Castle in the Sky for 2. So fanfare, when it comes into play, you search your deck for a follower with Storm, reveal it, and add it to your hand. And then activate, you can engage this card and put this card into your cemetery, and you select a follower on your field with Storm and give it +1 attack. And then you can activate for 10 play points to engage this card and put this card into your cemetery. You may put any number of followers with Storm from your hand onto the field and give them each +2/+2. That's actually pretty interesting. That seems like a super shotgun play, because your opponent won't know all the cards that you have with Storm, and there's lots of followers with Storm that have big high drops and whatnot, and you can really just go for face if your opponent does not ward up. Alright, next up we have Cinderella, and for 7 she has Storm, Strike, and then you can remove a Fairy Tale counter from this card and look at the top 4 cards of your deck. You may put a follower that costs 5 or less play points from among them onto your field and put the rest into your cemetery. Fanfare, if there's another Fairy Tale follower on your field, put a Fairy Tale counter on this card. I believe the card I probably put in the beginning was, I don't know if it was an alt art or whatnot, but I believe this is just, the Cinderella card. So that's why it said it had the same ability as Cinderella. On to the next one, we have Heroic Entry. And for 3, you look at the top 4 cards of your deck. You may put a Swordcraft follower that costs 3 or less from among them onto your field, and put the rest on the bottom of your deck in any order. If you put a Heroic follower, you give it +1/+1. Pretty interesting. Yet again, Swordcraft is getting more ways to flood the board, and then they don't have to sacrifice their hand, or another time where Swordcraft they play something and then they generate some value in some sort of way, they plus so hard. And the fact that you're spending 3 to play a follower off the top of your deck is pretty interesting, because honestly, in my opinion, deck thinning is deck winning. On to the next one, we have Ironwart Defender. He's a 1-drop, and when he comes into play, if there are 2 or more heroic cards in your cemetery, give this follower +1 and Ward. That's pretty interesting, because even if you could just mill them, or you just get rid of them in some sort of way, you'll always have a 1-drop Ward as long as you're running the heroic deck line. Next up, we have Kiss of the Princess. So for 1, if you have a princess card on your field, this card costs 1 less to play, and then you can choose one of the following effects. 1, select the follower on your field and give it +1 attack. and put a fairy tale counter on it. 2, select up to 3 swordcraft followers in your cemetery, return them to your deck, and then shuffle your deck, then draw a card. Pretty interesting, both things. Yet again, swordcraft is getting a 1-drop plus on just so many, and then if you're running the Princess line, this card is free. So the fact that you're probably able to shuffle 3 cards in your deck and then replace this card for free is pretty nice. Alright, next up we have Mock Knight, and for 3 you can evolve him for 1, and then when he comes into play, if this follower is put onto the field from anywhere other than your hand, give it Storm. So if you play that heroic entry for 3, you can definitely just get this Mock Knight off the top of your deck, or the top couple cards off your deck. And the fact that he gets +1/+1 too, so he'll be a 4/4 with Storm, and the fact that you can just play him and then swing for 4, and that's almost a quarter of your HP, it seems absolutely amazing for Swordcraft. And not only the fact that you can play him and then he has Storm, he gets a +1, you still have the Evo. So then Mock Knight Evo, so on evolve, you select the follower on the field and deal it 2 damage, and if there are 2 or more heroic cards in your cemetery, you deal 4 damage instead. So it seems like you're really doing the more heroic cards. This looks like the heroic line, and the fact this can turn to a 5/5 after you Evo it and it has the Storm, that seems pretty interesting. Next up, we have Maisie Red Riding Hood, and for 2, when she comes into play, if there's another Fairy Tale follower on the field, put a Fairy Tale counter on this card, and you can activate for 1 play point to engage this card, and you remove a Fairy Tale counter from this card, and you select the enemy follower on the field and destroy it. That's pretty interesting for a 2-drop to just straight up destroy something on the next turn for 1 play point, so shout out to that. Alright, next up, looking at Old Man and Old Woman, and for 1, it has Bane. This is, I feel like, personally, this is a little morbid, because this Old Man and Old Woman, when you touch them, you die. So, I don't know, it just felt like there's a deep meaning in it. I'm just not sure, but like, having an Old Woman and Old Man as a card, and then, you know, their whole thing is about death, seems pretty sad. Next up, we have Rabbit Ear Attendant. For 3, when she comes into play, if there's another Fairy Tale follower on your field, draw a card. Pretty interesting for 3. I mean, it maybe feels like a draw 2 or something like that, that'd be more, you know, useful. But the fact you just have a 3-drop that just draws if you have another Fairy Tale, I love the art for it though. But, you know, just having that requirement of another Fairy Tale follower and then you just draw a card seems a little weird to me. Next up, we have Valiant Fencer, and for 3, you can evolve him for 1. And then you can only evolve this follower if you have 2 or less cards in your hand, and then when it comes into play, you search your deck for a heroic card with a different name than this card, reveal it, and add it to your hand. So you make sure if you want to evolve, you get rid of those cards in your hand. It feels like the heroic line is going to be like super shotgunny because you're not going to have many cards in your hand. You're going to be using most of the cards to either look at the top of the heroic entry and then play one of those 3-drops, or, you know, whatever heroic card that you can get off the top and then play it, and then you're not going to generate any value to your hand because you're not really drawing cards. Alright, next up we have Valiant Princer Evolve. So on Evolve, you select the heroic follower in your field that can evolve and evolve that follower. So it looks like it can definitely get past that rule of you can only evolve once per turn. And the fact that you can evolve 2 times in 1 turn is actually pretty nice, because, you know, that Mock Knight, if you play it off that and you play Valiant Fencer and then you evo him, just evo the next one, it's going to be swinging for a whole lot. Yeah, you might be losing a lot of hand size and whatnot, but it seems like Valiant Fencer seems pretty nice because he'll be a 5/5, and then the other Mock Knight will probably be a 5/5 as well if you played him with the Heroic Sky, or the Heroic Entry. Lastly, we have Young Ogre Hunter Momo. For 4, she has a sail, but on follower strike, someone she swings at a follower. If the enemy follower has 5 or less defense, draw a card, then discard a card. And then when she comes into play, if there's another Fairy Tale follower on your field, give this follower a rush. So it seems like you're going to play a Fairy Tale follower and then follow up with Young Ogre Hunter Momo. That is a full name to say, by the way. She has that rush. She's able to swing into that follower that same turn, no matter if it's engaged or not. And you're able to draw a card and discard a card. Like some good filter. Alright everyone, well that was the last card in the video. Thank you so much for watching. One thing I wanted to say before we head out is that we still have set 3 that comes out on the... Alrighty everyone, well that was the last card in the video. Thank you so much for watching. You don't understand how much it means to me that you guys still watch my content, even though it seems a little useless to put out. But set 3 does come out on Friday, and I wish everybody luck on their pulls on whatever they get, or, you know, if you're just buying just straight up singles, that's fine too. I also want to give a reminder that we are doing a co-stream for World that's on Friday as well, so make sure you check that out on Rika TCG. I will give a link in the Twitch below just so you can check it out on Friday. We are probably going to be live around 7:30 Eastern Standard Time. I'm not entirely sure. I will definitely probably upload something, or I'll let everyone know that's, you know, could watch. So join us, you know, have fun with us, talk with us. That'd be nice. I'm going to probably post some highlights on Monday, and then we'll probably go from there. Alright guys, make sure you're safe in whatever you do tonight, and safe whatever you do for the rest of the year. I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.
I gave you all my love, baby, my heart is cold when you're around. You warm it up, liquid gold, baby, yeah, you warm it up, liquid gold, baby, and my affection, all that paper you wasted. Take my love.